It started out like any other week before Phoebe's birthday, her favorite time of the year, the one she treats like a national holiday. Usually I just go along with it. Watching her light up while planning her birthday festival was kind of my reward for surviving another year of her chaos. But this year was supposed to be different. Quieter. A small family dinner at my parents' house. No drama, no surprises. At least that's what I thought. Tuesday night, I was in the kitchen making dinner, pasta boiling, TV murmuring in the background, when I heard her voice float over from the couch. She had that tone, the one she uses when she's about to say something she knows I won't like. Casual. Too casual. "Hey, by the way," she said, not even looking up from her phone, "Patrick's coming on Saturday. Be mature about it." I froze mid-pour, pasta steam fogging my glasses. Patrick as in her ex. The guy who used to send her flowers every week when we first started dating. That Patrick. I asked, just to be sure I wasn't hearing things. She didn't even glance up, just said, "Yeah, he's going through a breakup." I didn't want him to be alone. Like that somehow made sense. "It's my birthday, not yours," she added. "Can you please just be mature about this?" There it was, and be mature about it. Her favorite shield whenever she wanted to do something selfish and make me feel like the unreasonable one for noticing. Apparently, she'd already talked to my mom about it too. My mom, who hates unplanned guests, was apparently fine with this, and she did it without even mentioning it to me first. I remember standing there, trying to keep my tone calm, but feeling that familiar sting of being 2 steps behind in my own marriage. "Fine," I finally said. "If you want him there, I'll be mature about it." She smiled like I'd just passed some moral test, kissed me on the cheek, and went back to scrolling. But what she didn't realize was, I meant it. I would be mature about it. Just in my own way. Because if Phoebe wanted Patrick there so badly, she was about to find out what real maturity looked like. And this time, I wasn't the one going to end up embarrassed. Over the next few days, I watched her transform. She was suddenly glowing. Makeup, outfits, even perfume just to run errands. She laughed at her phone more, and guess whose name started popping up again and again? Patrick this, Patrick that. By midweek, I'd heard more about Patrick than I had in the last 3 years combined. And with every "he's bringing dessert" or "he has the same music taste as my dad," something inside me settled into place. She wanted attention? Oh, she was going to get it. Just not the kind she was expecting. Every time she mentioned Patrick, there was this little smirk, that smug testing tone like she was daring me to react. But I didn't give her the satisfaction. I just nodded, stayed calm, and kept my cool. That probably bothered her more than anything else. Phoebe thrived on reactions. She needed them the way most people need air. If you didn't play along, she'd lose her footing. And that night, I decided to let her slip. When she finally fell asleep, I waited, 20 long, quiet minutes, just listening to her breathing settle into that slow, steady rhythm. Then, I reached for her phone on the nightstand. She'd swapped her old leather case for one of those cheap, glittery ones, pink, tacky, the kind a teenager would buy. Real subtle. I already knew her passcode. She'd never changed it. For a second, guilt pricked at me, a tiny voice asking if I was crossing a line. But then I remembered her laughing into her pillow the other night, calling me paranoid. That guilt disappeared like smoke. Her messages opened easily, and there it was, and Patrick. No hearts, no winky faces, nothing obvious. But the tone, it was all there. The thread went on and on, old inside jokes, memes, the kind of small talk that feels innocent until it doesn't. Then I saw it. "You were always the only one who really understood me." Sometimes I think I made the wrong choice. Wrong choice. I stared at those 2 words until they burned behind my eyelids. Because that wrong choice was me, her husband. The rest was emotional cheating dressed up as nostalgia. Late-night messages, private confessions, daydreams about a life that didn't exist anymore. It wasn't physical, but it didn't need to be. She'd already left me in every way that mattered. So I did what any calm, rational man would do after realizing his marriage was halfway out the door. I documented everything. Emailed the screenshots to myself, wiped every trace, and put her phone back exactly where it was. Then I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe, wondering when love had quietly turned into strategy. By morning, she was humming in the kitchen, wearing my shirt, smiling like nothing had happened. "Morning," she said sweetly. "We're low on milk. Can you grab some later?" I looked at her for a long moment. "Sure," I said evenly. "You sleep okay?" Yeah, she beamed. Just excited for my birthday. Excited. I almost laughed. She had no idea how exciting it was going to get. When she left for her salon appointment that afternoon, I opened my laptop and went digging. It didn't take long to find Patrick. His social media was a shrine to himself. Gym shots, vacation smiles, motivational captions. But one photo stopped me cold. 3 weeks old, tagged by someone else. Patrick was standing beside a woman with short brown hair, her hand resting protectively over her stomach. Her name was Kara. Her page was full of baby clothes, ultrasound pictures, friends commenting, "Congrats, Mama." Patrick wasn't going through a breakup. He was about to become a father. I scrolled further. Dinners, date nights, a ring photo captioned, "Forever starts here." Fiancé. He had a fiancé. So, while Phoebe played therapist to her heartbroken ex, the guy was out there posing for maternity photos. I stared at Kara's smile for a while, that pure, proud happiness. She looked like someone who believed she was building a life with a good man. And that's what broke me, because I knew exactly how it felt to be lied to by someone you trusted completely. So I made a new account, blank profile, fake name, and I typed, "Hey Kara, you don't know me, but I think there's something you should see. I'm married to Phoebe, Patrick's ex. She invited him to her birthday party this weekend. He told her he's single and going through a rough time. I thought you should know before it gets worse." Message sent. I sat back watching the little gray sent icon turn into seen. A few seconds later, the typing bubble appeared. Kara was awake. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a message request. "Who is this?" "What do you mean invited? He said he's working this weekend." That was fast. I took a slow breath, kept my tone calm, and replied, "I get it's weird hearing from a stranger, but I'm not lying. My wife invited him to her birthday party. I just thought you should know before he shows up pretending otherwise." The typing bubble came and went, hesitation you could almost feel. Then finally, "Can you prove that?" I sent a cropped screenshot. No names, no personal info, just enough to show the truth. A few minutes later, another reply popped up. Oh my God. Turns out Kara still had Patrick's iCloud synced on her old iPad. Every message, every word was already waiting for her. Proof she didn't even know she had. She'd seen the same messages I had. And for a long moment, there was nothing. Just silence. You could almost feel her staring at the screen, trying to piece together what her life had just turned into. Then finally, her reply popped up. "I'm 4 months pregnant. It's a boy. He's been acting distant for weeks. Said he was swamped with work. Now it makes sense." I just stared at those words. 4 months pregnant? My stomach sank. "I'm sorry," I wrote back. "You didn't deserve that. None of this is on you." "I feel so stupid," she replied. "He told me his ex ruined him. Said she left him for some loser who probably couldn't keep up with her. That loser apparently was me." I almost laughed out loud. The guy had rewritten our history like some bad movie script, casting himself as the heartbroken hero. "If it helps," I texted, "the loser's sitting right here, paying for the house she decorated while she texts your fiancé." A pause, then, "You sound calm." "How are you not losing it?" "Because losing it doesn't fix anything," I wrote. "I'd rather handle it right." She sent back a small emoji, that faint, resigned kind that means fair enough. Then came another message, longer this time. "I just don't get it. We were planning the nursery last week. He seemed happy. I thought he was stressed from work. Now I know it was her. He's a coward. When men like that get bored," I typed, "they reach for nostalgia. It's easier to chase the past than face what they've built." She didn't reply right away. Then, after a minute, "What are you going to do?" That was when I really started planning. We switched to regular texting, easier to talk without app notifications giving us away. Her tone shifted. Still angry, but steadier now. You could tell she'd moved from heartbreak to resolve. I respected that. We talked for almost an hour. I asked about her pregnancy, partly to distract her from the storm she'd just walked into. She told me it hadn't been easy. The morning sickness, the anxiety, trying to hold it all together while Patrick was working late. Working late, right. Probably just enough time to text Phoebe about simpler times. She asked what kind of party it was, and when I said it was my wife's birthday, she gave this bitter little laugh. That fits. He loves making everything about him. Showing up at her birthday is exactly his kind of stupid. Then she added, "You know what's funny? When we first started dating, he told me Phoebe was controlling and insecure. Said she dumped him because she thought he'd never be successful. Now he's crawling back to her like a lost dog. I wasn't surprised. I'd met his type before. Men who twist the truth until they're the victim in every story. We traded more messages, evidence, screenshots, lies laid bare. Kara even sent proof that Patrick told her he'd be away for work team bonding. Spotty reception, he'd said. I couldn't help but laugh. Spotty reception at a birthday party with a buffet and balloons. By the end of our conversation, she went quiet for a while. Then finally, you're planning something, aren't you? Let's just say, I replied, her party's about to get a surprise guest. You're inviting me? I'm giving you an opportunity, I said. He thinks he's spending the weekend charming his ex behind your back. I think he should meet his fiance's spine instead. A long pause. Then came the best message of the night. You know what? I'm in. He can deal with both of us. I don't care if it's awkward. I'm done protecting his image. I grinned at my phone. This woman was tougher than I expected. Good, I typed. We'll do it clean. No yelling, no chaos, I'm just facts. She replied once more before we ended the chat. I want the truth to hit him where it hurts. Not loud, just final. That line stuck with me. Because that's what real revenge is, and not noise, not fury. Just precision and timing. Later that night, while Phoebe slept upstairs, I sat at the kitchen counter, laptop open, scrolling through bakery options. She'd asked me to handle the cake. And that's when the idea hit. Part genius, part evil. A gender reveal cake. Patrick was about to be a father, and Phoebe didn't even know. The irony was perfect. I could already picture the confusion in her eyes. And the panic in his. I typed in the order. White frosting, blue filling, and on top, in neat bold letters, it's a boy. When the confirmation email came through, I smiled to myself. Let them play their little nostalgia games. Let them think they were in control. Because that cake wasn't just going to reveal a baby's gender. It was going to expose exactly what kind of people they really were. The next morning, Phoebe was up before sunrise, humming, organizing, commanding. You'd think she was planning a royal wedding. Planner open, pen behind her ear, phone on speaker. The only thing louder than her playlist was her ego. I just want everything perfect, she said, pacing the kitchen. Patrick said he'll come early to help set up. He's so thoughtful like that. Thoughtful. That word almost made me laugh. I just sipped my coffee and scrolled my phone. Yeah, I murmured, he's a real gem. What? She asked. Nothing, I smiled. Just thinking how lucky you are to have such considerate friends. She smiled, completely oblivious. It was almost impressive. How easy it was to fool someone who thought she was the one doing the fooling. While she went on about candles and playlists, my phone buzzed quietly in my pocket. A message from Kara. Are you sure about tomorrow? I don't know if I can face him. I excused myself, stepped outside, and let the cool morning air clear my head. You don't have to do anything dramatic, I texted back. Just walk in, see the truth, and leave. I'll handle the rest. He's going to deny everything, she wrote. He can try, I replied. But denial doesn't work well when the evidence is sitting next to a cake that says it's a boy. A pause, then, okay, I'll come. I'll be there at 5:30. Good, I said. I'll make sure it's a show worth seeing. That afternoon, I drove over to my parents' house, the venue for the big event. My mom was at the table polishing dishes, my sister Lauren helping and looking way too entertained. Hey, I said, shutting the door behind me. We need to talk before the circus starts. Mom frowned. That serious? Serious enough. I slid my phone across the table, screenshots open. Lauren was the first to react. Oh my God, she's been texting him like this. Mom scrolled through the messages, her expression tightening. You mean the Patrick she invited? That Patrick? Yep, I said. Apparently, he's been her emotional support system while lying to his pregnant fiancé. Mom set the phone down slowly, rubbing her forehead. Why are you telling me this now? Because you're about to host a party that's going to get interesting. I just wanted you prepared. Don't stop it. Just let it play out. Lauren leaned back, smirking. You're planning something, aren't you? I smiled faintly. Let's just say her cake isn't what she thinks it is. She grinned. You need someone to record? Already ahead of me, I told Lauren with a smirk. You'll know when to hit record. Mom didn't share the excitement. She looked at me, worry soft in her voice. Martin, are you sure this is wise? Maybe handle it privately. Mom, I said, keeping my tone calm but firm. If she wanted privacy, she wouldn't have invited her ex into my parents' house. I'm just... matching her energy. Lauren laughed, shaking her head. This is going to be legendary. I gave her a look. Don't cheer too loud during the chaos. By the time I got home, Phoebe was mid-phone call again, and I didn't need to guess who was on the other end. She was standing by the window, her voice soft, almost shy. Yeah, I can't wait to see you too, she said quietly. Try to come before everyone else. It'll be nice to talk before things get busy. I leaned against the hallway wall, phone recording in my hand, catching every word. The tone, the giggle, the pause after she said goodbye. It all played like a bad romance scene she didn't realize was being filmed. When she turned around, I was standing in the doorway. Everything good? I asked casually. She jumped, clutching her phone. Yeah, just my friend about the decorations. Friend, I repeated, nodding once. Got it. She smiled like she hadn't just handed me another reason to burn everything down. You picked up the cake, right? Not yet, I said. It's a surprise cake. You'll love it. Her eyes lit up. Oh, surprise? What kind of surprise? I shrugged. Something special. I even invited a guest to help deliver it. Her curiosity softened into that hopeful grin she always got when she thought something was about her. Really? Who? You'll see, I said, grabbing my keys. Thought it'd make the night more memorable. She beamed, imagining something glamorous, or a long-lost cousin, maybe a celebrity friend. You're being so sweet lately, she said. I smiled back. You have no idea. That night, after she'd gone to bed, I sat in the dim glow of the living room, scrolling through my notes. Screenshots, the voice recording. Kara's confirmation text, every piece of the puzzle ready, neatly lined up. I texted Kara one last time, then closed my phone and leaned back, staring at the ceiling. The house was silent, except for the faint buzz of Phoebe's phone in the other room. Probably more sweet nothings from Patrick. Tomorrow, she'd get exactly what she wanted. A birthday surrounded by the people she loved. Music, food, laughter, all eyes on her. Except this time, the spotlight wouldn't flatter her. It would burn. My eyes drifted to the receipt on the counter, the one that said, "It's a boy." I smiled. Let her think it's someone famous, I muttered. She'll find out soon enough who the real surprise is. Saturday came fast. Phoebe woke up glowing, and not from guilt. She was in full command mode, barking orders like a director on opening night. By the time we reached my parents' house, she was already adjusting decorations and telling my sister where to place candles. Martin, did you pick up the cake? She called out, fixing her earrings in the mirror. On my way, I said, grabbing my keys. Don't mess it up, please. This cake is important. I wouldn't dream of it, I said, and meant it in more ways than she'd ever know. When I picked up the cake, I checked the top before leaving. It's a boy written clean and perfect in blue icing. I smiled. It looked innocent. Beautiful, even. By the time I got back, the house was alive. Music, chatter, laughter, Phoebe's perfect little world spinning in motion. She was radiant, soaking up compliments about her dress, her glow, her perfect party. She wasn't glowing. She was oblivious. Patrick hadn't arrived yet, but I knew he would. Guys like him never pass up an audience. I placed the cake on the counter and joined my dad, who leaned in with a knowing grin. This is going to be something, isn't it? I smiled. You'll see. Then right on cue, the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there he was. Patrick, the human mirror. Fresh haircut, tailored jacket, smug grin, holding a shiny gift bag and a box of cupcakes like he'd personally invented chivalry. Hey, man, he said, flashing that fake smile. Thanks for having me. No problem, I said evenly. Come on in. Everyone's waiting. The moment he stepped inside, Phoebe lit up like the sun. She ran to him, hugged him just a second too long, laughed a little too loud. It wasn't subtle. The room felt it. My mom's polite smile was doing Olympic-level emotional labor. Patrick worked the crowd like a pro, shaking hands, charming everyone, while Phoebe followed him like a spotlight. It was almost impressive, how effortlessly they fell into old patterns right in front of me. When it was time for cake, I stepped forward. All right, everyone, I said, clapping my hands. Let's do this. Phoebe beamed, taking center stage. Finally! I've been waiting all day for this. Trust me, I said, carrying the box in. So have I. My mom dimmed the lights. Everyone gathered close, phones out, smiling. I opened the box. The room cheered, until Phoebe leaned in to read the words. Her smile froze. It's a boy? She said slowly. What does that even mean? Murmurs rippled through the room. My sister had her phone up, pretending to record the candles, but her camera was locked on Phoebe. Then the front door opened. Every head turned. Kara stepped in, calm, collected, one hand resting on her stomach, the other holding a small wrapped gift. "Sorry I'm late," she said softly. "Had trouble finding parking." Phoebe blinked, confused. Patrick froze, his face draining of color. The room went silent. Who is that?" Phoebe stammered. I set the cake knife down and smiled. "That," I said, "is Patrick's fiancée and the mother of his child." You could feel the air leave the room. Patrick's jaw dropped. Phoebe stepped back, shock written all over her face. Kara placed the gift next to the cake. "You told me you were at a work celebration," she said to him, voice steady, almost eerily calm. "Didn't realize the job title was ex-girlfriend's emotional support animal." Someone snorted. A few nervous laughs. Patrick stammered, "Kara, it's not what it looks like." "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like," she said, stepping closer. "I've seen the messages. The late-night texts. The miss you notes. You forgot to clear your cloud, genius." The room rippled with gasps. Phoebe's face flushed crimson. "Wait, this is insane." "No," Kara cut her off. "What's insane is you texting someone else's fiancé about how you made the wrong choice." Phoebe's voice cracked. "You went through my messages?" Kara didn't even blink. "No, your husband did." Every head turned toward me. I shrugged. Hey, I like transparency. Patrick was sweating now. "Kara, please. Can we talk outside?" She shook her head. "No, you've said enough. I just came to make sure she knew what kind of man she invited." He ran a hand through his hair, voice breaking. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she said. "You're a liar. You're a coward. And you're not coming home." Then she turned and walked out. No shouting, no tears, just quiet, devastating finality. Patrick stood frozen, then muttered, "I can't do this," and followed her out. No apology. No explanation, just gone. Silence settled over the room like fog. Phoebe's hands trembled, eyes wide with disbelief. "You set me up," she whispered. I tilted my head slightly, meeting her eyes. "Funny," I said. "That's what I was thinking." "No," I told her quietly, meeting her eyes. "You set yourself up. I just handled the catering." Phoebe looked around, her face pale as it hit her. Every single person in that room had just watched her perfect birthday implode in real time. The music was still faintly playing in the background, like the soundtrack to a slow-motion disaster. I picked up a plate, cut a slice of cake, and took a bite. "Not bad," I said. "Want some?" She glared at me, eyes glassy with tears. "You humiliated me." I nodded once. "Yeah, but technically you started it when you invited your ex to your own birthday. Not your brightest move, Phoebe." She didn't answer. She just stood there, frozen in place, trying to decide if there was still any dignity left to salvage. There wasn't. I set my plate down, straightened up, and looked at her one last time. "Happy birthday," I said quietly. Behind me, I heard Lauren whisper to Mom, "That was better than TV." And honestly, for once I couldn't disagree. By the time the last guest slipped out, the house looked like the aftermath of a party, and a storm rolled into one. Streamers sagged, half-empty cups everywhere, laughter long gone. My mom and sister escaped to the backyard, mumbling something about needing fresh air. I didn't blame them. Phoebe, though, she was still standing there, in the middle of the room, staring at the destroyed cake like it had personally betrayed her. Then she snapped. "You ruined my birthday," she screamed, voice cracking through the silence. I leaned back against the counter, calm as ever. "You ruined your own birthday. I just provided the cake." Her eyes blazed. She grabbed a handful of frosting and hurled it at the wall. Blue and white streaks splattered down like melting confetti. Then she lifted the entire cake stand and smashed it to the floor. The sound echoed sharp and final. "Are you happy now?" she shouted. "You made a fool out of me in front of everyone." I crossed my arms. "No, Phoebe. You made a fool of yourself. I just gave everyone a front row seat." She was pacing now, hands flying, anger shaking through every word. "You planned this! You invited her just to humiliate me." "You invited him," I reminded her. "Remember that part? The whole be mature speech? You wanted to play games. You just didn't expect someone else to know the rules better than you." Her voice snapped sharp. "Don't talk to me like that." I pushed off the counter. "I'll talk to you however I want. We're in my parents' house." Then I walked over to the corner and picked up a small box I'd placed there earlier, silver wrapping, simple bow. I handed it to her. She glared at it. What's that supposed to be, a gift? Something like that, I said. Figured I shouldn't be completely heartless tonight. She hesitated, breathing hard. After what you just did, you think a gift fixes this? It won't fix it, I said with a shrug. But it'll make things clearer. She tore into the wrapping paper, each rip louder than the last, like she was trying to tear through the night itself. Then she lifted the lid and froze. Inside was a single manila envelope. She pulled it out, confusion flickering to disbelief as she saw the header. Divorce papers, I said softly. Her eyes widened. You're serious? Very, I said. I emailed my lawyer Wednesday. He overnighted the drafts. You can sign whenever you're ready, or don't. Either way, it's over. Her lips trembled, anger melting into shock. You can't just decide that. I can, I said. And I did. That's when Lauren reappeared in the hallway, phone up, recording again. I shot her a look. She mouthed, evidence. Phoebe noticed and pointed furiously. Are you filming me? Lauren smiled faintly. Family memories. Phoebe let out a frustrated scream and snatched her purse. You're both insane, she yelled, storming toward the door. You'll regret this. Doubt it, I said simply. She glared at me one last time before slamming the front door so hard a picture frame rattled off the wall. Then silence. Just me, the mess, and the faint smell of vanilla frosting. I grabbed a towel and started wiping the blue streaks off the wall. They smeared into pale white, like erasing a bad memory one swipe at a time. My phone buzzed on the counter. 17 new messages. All Phoebe. I didn't even have to open them to know the order. Angry, blaming, apologizing, begging. The full emotional roller coaster. I scrolled through the first few. You're evil. You made me look crazy. Can we talk, please? Martin, answer me. Please, just talk to me. I typed one reply, talk to my lawyer, then muted her thread. By the next morning, the messages stopped. The silence felt strange at first and unfamiliar, but also peaceful. The kind of peace you don't realize you've been starving for until it finally shows up. A few days later, while I was at work, I got a message from Kara. Hey, just wanted to say thank you again. I left him for good, staying with my parents for now, focusing on the baby. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling. You don't owe me thanks, I replied. You just did what needed to be done. That night I met my lawyer officially. He went through the paperwork, asked a few questions, and nodded approvingly when I handed him the evidence. You kept everything clean, he said. Screenshots, recordings, airtight. This should move fast. Good, I said. The sooner it's done, the better. He glanced up. You sure you don't want to give her time to cool off? She's had 3 years to grow up, I said. Cooling off won't change anything. He chuckled, closing the file. Fair enough. And for the first time since all this began, I felt something close to a smile. Not happiness exactly, just relief. The kind that comes when you finally stop holding your breath. Phoebe wanted a night she'd never forget. She got it, and me? I got something better. Peace. 2 months later, that peace was still there. The divorce was almost finalized, and Phoebe hadn't fought me on a single thing. No arguments, no negotiations, no desperate last-minute pleas. Her lawyer called mine once, said she just wanted it over with. I figured she was too embarrassed to drag it out. In the end, I walked away with 60% of the assets and my freedom. For once, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. The apartment, the car, most of the savings, all stayed with me. She only took what she could carry, a few clothes, some jewelry, a couple of furniture pieces she'd picked herself. She packed quietly, didn't make a scene, and honestly, I didn't care about any of it. I just wanted her gone. Word spread faster than wildfire. My sister, Lauren, said the family group chat hadn't stopped buzzing since the night of the party. Everyone had heard about it, the birthday girl who got gender revealed. Even her co-workers started keeping their distance. No one wants to be the plus one in someone else's scandal. Lauren told me one of Phoebe's friends even posted one of those vague Instagram quotes. Some people love the spotlight until it burns. Everyone knew exactly who it was about. Patrick didn't take the hint, though. A week later, he tried crawling back to Kara. Calls, texts, even flowers sent to her parents' house. She blocked him everywhere. Lauren said she'd seen him at a local bar a few nights in a row, looking miserable and mumbling about how he'd lost everything. I didn't feel bad for him. He didn't lose everything. He just lost access to the people he could manipulate. Kara and I stayed in touch just a little. Nothing romantic, just small updates here and there. She told me she'd moved back in with her parents, focusing on her baby, rebuilding her life. You could tell through her messages, she was steadier now. Lighter. One afternoon, she texted, "Hey, I'm in town for a doctor's appointment. Want to grab coffee?" My treat. I said yes. Not because I wanted anything more, but because it felt like the right way to close a chapter. We met at this quiet little cafe downtown. Brick walls, soft music, that kind of place where time feels slower. I spotted her by the window right away. She looked different, peaceful in a way I hadn't seen before. Her hand rested over her baby bump, protective but gentle. We talked for a bit, mostly about small things. When she stood to leave, she handed me a small envelope. "What's this?" I asked. She smiled. "A sonogram. Figured you earned one. You're kind of the reason this kid's mom got her head on straight." I looked down at it. A grainy image, tiny hands, tiny feet, and for the first time in months, something inside my chest eased. "Thanks," I said quietly. She smiled, slipping on her coat. "Take care, Martin, and don't stop trusting yourself. You're better at reading people than you think." After she left, I went home, walked straight to the corner where Phoebe's last box still sat. Random decor, an old sweater, a few photos. I carried it outside, dropped it beside the trash bins, and didn't look back. That chapter was over. No dramatic music, no emotional monologue, just a quiet ending. The kind that actually lasts. A few days later, my lawyer emailed. Everything was finalized, signed, clean, done. I signed my copy, hit send, and sat back in my chair. The past year had been chaos, a storm I didn't see coming. But standing in the calm that followed, I realized something simple. I didn't miss the marriage. I didn't miss the arguments, the fake smiles, the pretending. I didn't even miss the comfort. I only missed peace. And that I finally had back. As I stood there, staring at the empty counter where her perfume bottles used to sit, I caught my reflection in the window. Calm, collected, free. She wanted a birthday she'd never forget, I said to myself with a quiet grin. Guess she got one. Blue frosting and all. If you've made it this far, hit that hype button, because some stories deserve to blow up.